Hello and welcome to Broads and Books. I'm Erin.
And I'm Amy. And this is a very special episode of Broads and Books called Celebrity?
Notice
with a question mark?
So we're going to break down some of our favorite celebrity memoirs, but we kind of decided that we needed some expert guidance.
Yeah.
And we both kind of decided we knew exactly who that expert needed to be.
We really did. And so we brought in an honorary broad. His name is Heath. And I want to describe Heath as a friend. He's a movie buddy. Seen a lot of movies with him. He came to see Hustlers with us.
He did.
He told me, he leaned over when J-Lo got on the pole and said, "She's 50." He also, when I first was introduced to this friend group, he was my target because he was a little snarky. He was a little curmudgeonly. And I was like, that's the one. Mm-hmm. I want to get into his good graces.
It was your chip moment.
Yeah.
With him. Mm-hmm.
And also he has a love for celebrity, and a particular one that is just nonstop, unconditional. So we needed to bring him on board.
Yeah.
So this is Heath. Hi, Heath.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here.
Anything you would add to that introduction? Anything you disagree with?
No, I don't disagree with anything.
Good.
In there, I am a curmudgeon.
Yeah.
If you encounter me in real life, you will experience that.
Yeah, and it's a glorious thing to behold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm really growing into it as I age.
Yeah, so Heath is here. He's joining us for this very special episode. So, we're going to talk about celebrity.
Yeah.
So, Erin, a question for you.
Okay.
What are some
Caloric?
Yeah,
They
horrible,
are caloric, yeah.
What are some horrible celebrity memoirs?
This pains me, and I think that we are
no.
going to talk about some Real Housewives in a bit.
Yes, we are, yeah.
And I'm almost a little ashamed to admit this, but I've read all of Trisha, Judice, which however you want to say the last name.
So this is a housewife.
Hotly contested
Okay.
in New Jersey. I read all of them, and they're all horrible. Like,
Wait, she has multiple
so
memoirs?
bad. Yeah, like 3. Like, she just kept putting them out. Well, because things just kept getting that crazy, just kept ramping up in her life. She's the one you probably because she went to prison. Her husband went to prison for tax fraud.
Oh,
he was deported. It's
Oh my.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and they're bad. Like they're not
bad.
even. I don't even know. I don't know if she just like fired the ghostwriter, or
Probably.
they just had no budget for it, so
Yeah.
it was like a 10th grade English student, but.
But it's also hard when your job is being on a reality show to talk about your life, to then write a book about your life that people have already seen on TV.
Yes.
It seems a little.
That's a good point.
It seems a little insulting to your fans if you
Yeah.
call them that.
Because she did a lot of like, this is what I was really thinking about this moment. And you're right. A lot of it's like, well, yeah, I assumed because you flipped a table.
Right,
or
yeah.
I assumed because you didn't speak to your brother for years that you were pissed. Like, so.
Well, that's a good point. So do you think a celebrity memoir has to have stuff that, like behind the scenes, like things that we wouldn't know as
Right.
normal fans? Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it's not going to have new information, what the point. It's like when a movie comes out, they put everything in the trailer,
Yeah.
and then you go to the movie and you're just like for an hour, you're like, well, nothing's happening. Like I don't care about any of this.
Saw this.
I saw the good stuff, before. So why am I wasting my time?
Wow.
The other one I was going to say was Courtney Robertson, who was a Bachelorette contestant. I read her memoir, I Didn't Come Here to Make Friends.
Oh, no.
Which I had to just on the title.
Oh.
And that was also rough. It had some great behind the scenes stuff of like what happens during filming, like how they keep the girls separate and when they choose not to and stuff, which was interesting from a production and manipulation standpoint. But it's pretty much just 20 chapters of I'm a bitch and I own it. And I didn't come here for any other reason than to win. And I wasn't really looking for a husband. I wanted to win.
Wow.
Yeah.
That actually, we have a friend, Stephanie is her
Yes,
name,
we
who
do.
Was very close to being on The Bachelor.
Yes,
she did not
she
want a husband.
was.
She's competitive.
And she would have been amazing.
She would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah. She would have cut a bitch, for sure.
As any good contestant would. I wholly enjoy that.
And I feel like, longtime listeners, that Erin is a big reality TV buff. Heath, would you consider yourself a reality TV buff?
I think buff might be a little strong. I like to think I'm discerning.
Oh.
I'm probably not.
I see. Okay.
fair.
Yeah.
That's
I think I draw the line at when reality stars leave their original show and they end up on a second reality show. Like maybe former housewives who end up on the couples one that's on We TV, I think is what
couples therapy or
Yeah, something like that, where they send couples, they all live in a mansion, and they just argue, and it's just sort of like there's no point in this other than to just see people at their worst.
Right.
Like I think that's kind of where I draw the line.
Okay.
How do you feel about Housewives spin-off shows then, like on Bravo?
I haven't seen any that I enjoy very much, but I feel like that's a little bit more legitimate, like if you would consider any of this legitimate.
Right. We're in a world where this is legitimate.
How do you define legitimate?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is most of the, I mean, it's rare. Most of the Housewives, it only really works when they've got the right combination of people. When you just kind of pluck someone out of that, it's pretty rare for it to actually work, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Amy, why do you think that celebrity worship happens?
I think we have a desire to love and hate people so much that we want a sort of royalty. We want like this sort of upper class that we can look at and we can love, but we can also tear the shit out of them too. Like we want both aspects. And maybe because they're so far removed, it feels like we can do that without impunity, you know? But then at the same time, I don't know, because now I'm thinking about like Jimmy Kimmel. He has like the mean tweets that he reads on his, like the actresses and actors like read the tweets about them. So there's a little bit more like personal connection. And now I feel like people just do that so they can get on Jimmy Kimmel's show.
Well, that could be.
Yeah. That's fair.
I do find the idea that anybody, I mean, I know celebrities have social media so they can connect with their fans, but just the idea of like tweeting at Beyonce, like, I didn't like this outfit or I didn't like that song. I find that to be bizarre that anyone is so entitled to do that. They're a stranger. You might own their music or see their videos or watch their movies, but they're a stranger. Like,
and what do you think is going to happen? Like Beyonce's going to read that and be devastated.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, what's your ultimate goal there?
Yeah.
Especially when like the celebrities who can be political on their platforms and say, vote for this person or not this person, and people are like, can't you just be funny? I don't want to hear about your politics stuff. And it's like it's their Twitter or whatever. They can do whatever they want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the Dixie Chicks, just shut up and sing.
Oh.
I'm sorry, the Chicks. They're not the Dixie Chicks anymore. My bad.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that is your bad.
Sorry, the Chicks.
Come on.
Well, Heath, question for you.
Okay.
What do you think is one of your all-time favorite celebrity moments?
It was a moment. It was a moment that lasted a few weeks, but probably the Tina Fey, Sarah Palin thing before the, was it 2008 election?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just her, and if you read her book, Bossy Pants, like she kind of goes through it in pretty good detail, but just the sort of, because she was working on 30 Rock at the time, and she was doing this, and it was just, I mean, she was very, very busy doing a lot of things, but I just think it was such a spot-on impersonation. It was really kind of, it really captured a moment. It was like lightning in a bottle kind of thing. And it was, I think that was like record ratings for Saturday Night Live when she was coming on and doing that. And and the funny thing was she didn't have to do that much. I mean, Sarah Palin was kind of a character in and of herself. So there wasn't
like writing it for
right.
them.
Yeah. Yeah. You just amp up the accent a little bit, and do the pew pew. That kind of, it was just more like adding the accents.
That's such a good point, because I think that it was right around there that suddenly we became super obsessed with who on SNL is going to play who.
That's true. Yeah. That was kind of the
since
onset
then.
of-
Yeah, it's been a big thing. Good pick. I like that. Yeah.
That too. So, do you think that there's a difference between a reality star and a celebrity? I mean, we kind of been talking about both, but what do you think?
I do, because I'm not really a big reality show person. And in my mind, and this is me being a snob and a half, if a celebrity were to say go on Dancing with the Stars or something like that, their like credibility lowers with me.
With that.
But what do you guys think? What's the difference between reality star and celebrity?
Speaking specifically to that example you
Yeah.
gave me, I think we've reached a point with Dancing with the Stars where, like everyone's just like, "Oh, you got a check for me? What do you need me to do?"
Yes, that's true. Like
100%.
Yeah.
I think Dancing with the Stars at some point had a trajectory where it was really popular because it was a really highly rated show at one point.
Yeah.
And people would go on it because it's sort of people remembered them and maybe they could parlay that into something else. But I do think at this point it's just sort of like when you got Carol Baskin on,
Things have gone.
right? It's just like the third lead from a '90s sitcom.
Yeah.
Probably is just like nah. I'll stay home.
So yeah, how
I
do
think
you define
that's
the difference?
Yeah, right there is like I think a celebrity, they have a machine. Like there's a whole team this is like a whole image. It's not even just that person. It's like this whole persona that's having to live out in the world. And a reality TV star, like they're on their own. They stood in line and they said something funny and got lucky. Yeah. Or they did something outrageous and they're like, that's great. Let's put that on TV. It'll get ratings. I don't think that there's this concerted effort to make them, you know. And reality stars probably just aren't as talented either.
Right, I was going to say that, yeah. A celebrity, I think, probably it started with a talent.
Yes.
They could act or they could sing. They could offer something to the world. And not just, you know, give a good side eye or, you know, say something snarky to that bitch down the street.
Right,
you know?
Yeah. Agreed. Yes.
Would either of you be on a reality show? And if so, what would you be on?
I've thought about this a lot. First of all, I'd never make it on Housewives because I would find too much entertainment in it and I would be boring. Like I would just be sitting there laughing.
Just watching everyone.
Yeah, and then they'd be like, you never contribute. Like you just laugh. It's not helpful. We have to cut you out of all of the scenes. I think legitimately I could do Big Brother because it's not really that physical. It's not like Survivor. I'm not going in the wild for weeks. That's not happening. So
Big Brother's the one they just put everyone in a house,
yeah.
right? Okay.
And then you get to go in the interview thing and just talk shit about everyone. That's exactly my ability. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly where I would shine. They'd like me in the house. They get home, watch interviews, and be like, I thought we were friends.
What about you, Heath?
I don't think I would be great on reality TV. Like something like Survivor, I know I'd be bad. I might be good TV, but I would be a horrible person on it because I would just be like sleeping on the ground with, you know, vermin around me. No. And like I would just be tired. I would feel like shit. I would be hungry. I would, you know, want to drink.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be able to do any of those things, and I would be unappealing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've gone on record with my hatred of games. So really, many shows are games and competitions. And I think that's why I don't really like watching them because there's that competition aspect. So, yeah. Okay, so we're not going on. You're maybe going on a reality show.
Well, and they're never going to cast me. Let's be fair. I'm not going to ever pass the casting process.
What do you think is involved in the cast? Well, we know from our friend there was multiple levels of like interviews and like
and I know there's psychological testing and that kind of thing to make sure.
So that makes me laugh, like thinking that probably someone's trying to game the system with the psychological thing. Like how crazy can I be that they can get me on there? Yeah.
Well, I think they've said in like Bachelor reveal books, like producers that have written books, that some of it too is they are looking to see how easily manipulatable you are. Like they have to have a certain number of contestants that they can get to do what they want. So like
and they don't want you to hurt anybody, but they want you to be a lunatic.
Yeah.
Right? They're finding that sweet spot.
A non-homicidal lunatic.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I imagine they're looking for competitive people too that are going to edge that up all the time. You know that.
And just people that aren't going to get along with these other people that they've interviewed. You know, they don't want everyone to be friendly.
Yeah.
Because that's no fun.
Yeah. Then they have to instigate way more.
It all just, you know, I'm glad that we brought in our expert because I would have nothing to say on this topic really besides just ugh.
I agree with what you said though, that my respect for celebrity goes down if they cross over into being a reality star. Like something's gone astray for you.
Yeah.
That this is where we're at.
Like when Denise Richards did Denise Richards: It's Complicated. That was like, you were in a Bond movie.
Yeah, you were a Bond girl.
Yeah, and now you're doing this.
Oh no. So. Well, because this is sort of a special episode, we're not doing our typical format of how many, picks that we do and everything. Yeah. What we're going to do is each of us have picked a celebrity memoir that we're going to talk a little bit about, or maybe a lot about, depending on what Heath wants to do.
So,
and then
my segment's only 90 minutes.
We'll have a shortened edition and a long extended edition.
The director's cut.
A director's cut of Heath's discussion. But then after that, and we sort of talked about or touched on Real Housewives, the two of you are big fans of Real Housewives. I have never watched a show, so what I've done is created a quiz for the two of you that we're going to take great joy in. Again, I'm not a big fan of games, but I'm a fan of leading the games. So this is going to be great.
For you to do.
Yes.
To participate in games.
Yes.
You just need to be in charge.
So that's what we're going to do. And I think we'll start off. I think it's kind of good that I'm starting off because I don't know if this is... how you will feel if this is a celebrity or not. Like I've talked a little bit about some celebrity memoirs in the past, like Amy Poehler's book I've read, a few musicians that I've read, but I thought one that could count as celebrity was Michelle Obama.
Oh yeah,
and
for
her
sure.
memoir. All right.
Yeah.
Did you guys read that one?
I didn't read the book, but I saw the special on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah, my husband
Yes.
read the book. Does
Yeah.
that count?
Yeah, that counts. Yeah, in the family, it read. So yes, this was kind of the biggest event of 2018. Like she went on a huge book tour.
Yes.
She did. I forgot about the documentary, and now she's got something else out, and there's a podcast she started too. So she's everywhere.
She should be.
And in case I didn't specify it, it's Michelle Obama's book, Becoming.
I here just real quick. This
Yes.
is how you know she's a celebrity. She wore one necklace at the Democratic National Convention,
Yeah.
and they can't make them fast enough. It's
Seriously?
sold out because it was the gold. It said "vote" in gold letters.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like apparently
She is a
now
celebrity.
people just want it real bad.
That's a good point. And she, like, all of the fashion she's worn has become iconic. So yeah. Okay, thank you for supporting my celebrity choice.
Support it.
Great.
100%.
I think I really liked it, particularly since it came in 2018 at a time that we were sort of desperate for some sanity in the world, right?
An
Just
adult
hearing,
who can speak in full senses.
yes, and can write
Bare
well.
minimum.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. I think after 2 years of the current administration, we needed her real bad. And she delivered with a real big book, real thick book that really like kind of dug into her upbringing, her life before, you know, meeting Barack, her life with Barack, her life in the White House. She revealed a lot of really kind of open stuff. It was really, I enjoyed that quite a bit. Like I said, she talks about growing up in the 1970s on the south side of Chicago and how the demographics of her neighborhood was sort of directly changed by white flight to the suburbs. And one thing I really liked about it is she talked about how she was sort of like the checklist achiever person. Like, if I go to this high school, that's great. And then if I go to this college, that's great. And then if I get this job and then I get this car, then I've made it. Which kind of reminded me of our American Dream episode.
Yes.
You know, like she was checking off everything, especially knowing she was a black woman and she had to work harder for it.
Yep.
So, but then after checking all these things off, after going to Princeton, after going to law school, after joining this law firm in Chicago that was, you know, super high profile, after getting all the money in the car, then she was like, well, shit, this isn't very fulfilling. Like, what do I do now? And it was then that she started getting involved a little bit more in the community. She met Barack, and they formed the most perfect union that's ever been known, I think. I think that the book sort of goes through all the highs and lows of being in politics. I like that she's always been very open about, like, this is a shit show. I didn't ever really want to be in this, but here I am, and I'm going to try and make it as useful and powerful as I can. I like that she's always been a bit more cynical, especially compared to her husband, who's always been very hopeful about politics. And she's like, seriously, this is not happening. And I think that she was a great writer. And like I said before, she's got her own podcast now. And I think it's on Spotify, but it's also elsewhere, where she's talking to people in her life. Like the first episode, she talked to her husband. There's one episode where she talks to a few of her girlfriends just about, you know, over time, how things have changed. They're responding to the events of today. So it's a really good listen, and it's soothing as hell hearing her voice in my ear.
Oh, I haven't listened to it, so I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
So you guys read Becoming. Well, no, Michael read Becoming.
Right.
You read Becoming.
No, I
you
didn't.
didn't.
Read.
Okay.
I did same as him.
Well, that's a good point, though. What did you think about the documentary? Because I watched that too.
I thought it was, I mean, again, it was, I think you used the word soothing before, but it was
Yes.
soothing to just, again, be like, here's an adult who's interesting and doesn't have all the theatrics and all this sort of just treating people poorly to sort of get other people to like them. Like, you can just be a nice person who cares about other people, and it's inspiring, and and people enjoy seeing it and being part of it, and it's, it makes you want to be a better person.
Yes.
And it was just a nice, refreshing, it was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I think that's too kind of why you were questioning at first about it being a celebrity, because generally our view of celebrities is that there is like some jadedness or some inauthenticity that they have to keep up in order to keep whatever they have, and that's what's so refreshing about her, and especially in the documentary, but also just when she was in the White House, is like there isn't that feeling with her. Like, I'm just me, and I don't think that politics is everything it should be, and
she's not keeping up an image that's just
Yes,
just
exactly.
authentic. It's just who she is.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked in that documentary, didn't they talk to some of her mentees too? Like, she's really big about mentoring and trying to, bring the new generation in. In the podcast, she's talking about like how, she's been working with young people and how much hope she has for them. I'm still a cynic. So in my head, I'm listening. I'm like, yeah, no, they're not going to save us. What are you talking about? Come on,
I've
Michelle.
met them.
They're not our saviors.
No.
No. So that's Michelle Obama becoming my celebrity
That's
memoir.
a good choice.
Thank you. What's your celebrity memoir, Erin?
Well, it's kind of weird because it's already been mentioned.
Oh.
Yeah, but I brought
Wait,
Bossy Pants.
Oh.
by Tina Fey.
I thought you were going to bring the shitty ones that you had read.
I was tempted, but then that seemed against our whole mission. So I was like, no.
Yeah.
And I actually had a backup because I was afraid you were going to pick this one too.
Oh.
Because I thought of Amy Poehler too, but we've already discussed.
Yeah, we've already talked about
and
her.
Amy Schumer, I loved her memoir. But we already discussed that one. So this was published in 2011, so a while ago. And if I could speak directly to Tina Fey, because I know she's a big fan.
Hi, Tina.
Tina, listen, we got your ear now.
You need to write another one so I can
yeah.
hear what's been going on since then.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more to fill in.
There is.
But as mentioned, this talks a lot about her time on 30 Rock when she was also working on SNL. I pointed that out. That was one of my favorite parts as she talks about the Sarah Palin part and how much criticism she got about portraying her and how frustrated she was that, Will Ferrell was doing George W. Bush at the same time and got none of the same criticism that she did. Like, how could you do this? How could you portray this woman this way? Which she thought was very funny, especially in her career as a comedian, that's where someone really planted their flag. Like, that's what we're going to be upset about. But the story itself, or the memoir itself, I like it for a memoir because you get a lot of information about her and a lot about her life, but there's also, she kind of worked it into some lessons. It's almost like part business book, part female empowerment. Like, there's parts that she talks about how she kind of took over writers' rooms or how she became a leader on a show by just speaking, her voice and saying, no, this is really what I think is funny, or this is really what I think should happen. And you kind of get that impression of her anyway, that she doesn't just fall into like what someone wants her to be. And there's some great stories about her life. Like I said, there's a story about her mom taking her to shop for her first bra in JCPenney's and like making her try it on over her clothes.
Oh, God.
And,
Yeah.
And I thought some of the best stuff too was there was stuff in there about celebrities that I never would have guessed. Like, she said Alec Baldwin was a great host on SNL, which obviously she worked with him later on too. But like Gwyneth Paltrow and Queen Latifah both have great ears for sketch comedy.
Wow.
Maybe Queen Latifah.
Maybe
but
Queen Latifah, yeah. Gwyneth.
Huh?
Right.
I mean, that's the
Goop?
second time now.
Is Goop a sketch comedy? Are we being punked?
Oh, are the vaginal eggs just a great joke? Is
It
that
could
it?
be.
Oh, shit. Maybe that's it. It's a long-running sketch.
Tina, let us know.
Yeah.
Reach out. Yes. And that Ben Affleck was really good to work with.
Huh.
Again, that was pre-2011.
He got a back tattoo since then, a real big one.
Yeah, he
so
did.
Maybe he's
Yeah.
taking a
And
turn.
frequently in COVID, he's just walking around drinking Dunkin' Donuts for no reason.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just like his claim to fame right now. Just lots of
Okay.
pictures of him. And he seems to be doing it on purpose now, like weekly being seen with a Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Huh. Well, I wonder, I said how if you're Dancing with the Stars, maybe your celebrity is downgraded. Is walking around with Dunkin' Donuts a celebrity downgrade, do you think?
Well, America runs on Dunkin'. So if you don't like America, maybe it's a downgrade.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I feel like maybe if you're pandering specifically to paparazzi to get your picture out there during this time, I have
that could be.
questions. Like, what's up
That
over
could be.
there?
Yeah, what's going on over there? Yeah.
But I think that has something to do with his girlfriend, who I'm not even sure what her name is. But
Ana de Armas?
yeah, because they're calling
Yeah.
her Banana or something, aren't they? The two of them
Oh,
together.
no. Come on now.
Banana?
Is she the one that was in, was it Knives Out?
Yes.
Is that her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So very pretty and
Yeah.
very, very
But she's also
talented.
drinking Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh.
Oh.
And sometimes they're in masks and
Anna.
sometimes they aren't.
Oh,
You
God.
just never know.
Okay.
They should know better.
I don't know why. I'm sorry. That was a tangent for Bossy Pants.
I will say, I recently drove across the country for a vacation, and we listened to the audio version of Bossy Pants on the way back. And if you have not, it's worth revisiting. 'Cause
Is it her reading
Yeah,
it?
it's Tina Fey reading it,
Oh.
and there's a lot of fun stuff that she does well in the audio version. That's She amps it up. It's good.
I need to listen to it.
And
now.
also, can we take a moment to talk about the fact that you drove across country?
Yeah, let's pause.
And
And
we need a
back.
pause to discuss that. So you drove to Palm Springs for a little vacation. And how'd that go?
It went better than I expected.
Okay.
Yeah, it
That's
went.
a lot of driving.
It is. It's about 24 hours on the road. So.
In a car with your husband.
Yep. So, and it was. I will tell you this: if you ever find yourself in the Rocky Mountains in a car with my husband,
Oh no.
don't let him drive.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
just the idea of it makes me a little
Yeah.
nauseous.
I
Yeah.
I never felt unsafe, but he gets easily distracted by pretty rocks. And there were times where it was like a 75-mile-an-hour speed limit, and we were going like 50 because he's like looking around at all the mountains. And I was like, you know, and you don't want to like rush people through that, but at the same time, it's like we need to go because I'm sick of being in the car.
Oh god.
Like,
Yeah.
we need to keep this train moving.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised. I mean, I guess, you know, a cross-country drive, you have to let him drive at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've gone on record with he's not the greatest driver in the world.
He's
yeah.
not. He's not. So, but otherwise, it was I mean, I'm not ready to do it again right now,
Yeah.
but it was more fun than I thought. Tina Fey helped out a lot.
Well, thanks, Tina
Good
Fey.
job, Tina Fey.
Yeah.
Tina Fey. Just gonna keep saying her name. Maybe the more we say it, she'll listen. Like we'll manifest it in the universe.
Yes.
You know?
She's like funny lady Beetlejuice.
Yes.
Tina Fey. Tina Fey. Tina Fey. Oh yeah.
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 So, if you somehow missed this in 2011, I don't know what you're doing. Now you got a great rec also to listen to it on audio.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's a great tie-in to Heath's pick because apparently she just interviewed her.
She did, yeah, on Billboard.com. She did just interview Mariah Carey, which is my pick for the celebrity memoir of the century. Is it too early? Is it too early?
I was going to say two things. One, we have known Heath a while. We've known that his love for Mariah, would you say it's, are there any bounds to your love for
I would
Mariah?
call it boundless.
Okay. Can she do any wrong, do you think?
She's an imperfect human, and she can make mistakes for sure. But I don't think she is I don't think she has tries to do crummy things. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like,
Yes.
I mean, obviously everyone's got, stumbles and,
Sure.
yeah, that kind of thing. But I don't feel like she goes out of her way. She's not Mel Gibson. I'll say that. She's not just an asshole.
Well, you have brought the book. It looks
I
like
did.
a hefty book.
It is. It's,
I see there's a picture section.
Yes,
in
there
it.
is.
Yeah, there's good pictures in
That's
it.
important.
I think when I read it, I knew that she didn't have like the smoothest childhood, but I did not know that kind of to the extent that
Really?
like they lived in 13 different houses. It was just her and her mother in a lot of these, and I didn't know that she has two older siblings, and that her older brother and her father used to physically fight a lot.
Oh,
and that her older siblings are a little bit older than her and kind of were out of the house, but like got into the wrong kind of stuff. And her sister, got into drugs and prostitution, and she currently has HIV.
Oh, no.
So it's kind of, it was a dark stuff, and it was, and just she talks a lot too about just growing up biracial, and when she said when she was young, like she thought all the chaos in her house was because her family was biracial, because there was that lack of unity, and she didn't really find out until she was an adult that those were just two separate things. It was just two people that, her parents were just people that didn't get along and sort of, didn't do a lot to sort of eliminate the chaos from the house.
Yeah.
And they just happened to also be a biracial family. So that was interesting stuff. But probably, I think what people would be most surprised about is when she was one of the biggest pop stars in the world, like she was not allowed to like go get French fries. Like there was a story in here of like she left the compound that her husband had built for them.
The compound.
Right. There was security everywhere, and she left with Debrat, noted female rapper, Debrat, to go to Burger King to get French fries. And like there was like a security, like, I mean, dozens of security people were like looking all over for her and couldn't find her. And she was gone for all of like 20 minutes. Like people just became unhinged because her husband was kept such a tight leash on her. And to throw it back to Housewives, while she was getting French fries, Candy Burris, who was in the group Escape in the 90s, was at her house to record the remix to Always Be My Baby. So it's a real full circle moment here.
Whoa!
Wow.
Yeah.
But also, okay, so that husband, was he sort of a producer? Or
Yeah, it was
like that?
Tommy Mottola. He was the president
Yes.
of Sony Records at the time, her record
Okay.
label. So
Was
he
he
was
pretty
sort of kind of her boss.
But also her husband.
Right, but he's also like 23 years older than her too. It was sort of a weird.
Was it sort of a controlling kind of?
Yeah, and
Okay.
she talked too, like he was controlling before they got married. She thought maybe if we get married, he'll like loosen the grip a little bit.
Oh,
just
no.
thinking, since we're legally bound to each other, maybe he'll like let me have a little more freedom.
French fries.
Right, yeah. That's all she wanted. She's like, I'll marry you if I can get my own French
I
fries.
just
Yeah.
want you know what? That's relatable.
It sure
Anything
is.
is relatable.
That's very relatable.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And and obviously that's not the way it worked out. And I mean, I think at the time she was 23 maybe when they got married. So it's,
Yeah.
you're not really a 23-year-old would think that,
Yeah.
old people like us would be like, no, that's not going to happen. Like
Yeah.
he's not going to.
It's not gonna change.
Not gonna
honey.
get better. No.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope. Yeah.
Yep. So there was that, and also her mother had her arrested in 2001.
What?
Yes. Because sort of as the lead up to Glitter, we all recall like when she was on TRL and she kind of, the stunt went poorly.
Yes. Yeah.
In the
like
day-
the ice cream thing or something,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
In the days after that, her new record label was putting pressure on her to make another video, and she was like, well, I don't need to make another video for this other song. Just use the footage from the movie. And, and she went like 6 days without sleeping. She'd barely eaten anything. She was just kind of coming unraveled, and she was at her mother's house, which, Mariah Carey paid for. Mm-hmm. And her brother was there, and there was some sort of family argument, and the police were called, and the police arrested Mariah Carey because her mother was mad at her, and it was her mother's house, and her mother was like, she's the problem. So,
Oh my God.
in 2001, again, she's one of the biggest pop stars in the world,
Yeah.
and she gets arrested and taken to this mental health institution
Oh my gosh.
for several days, where she kind of tried to sort of get some rest and sort of pull it back together, and then they flew her to Los Angeles, and she was in a facility there on 9/11.
Oh my God.
When that all happened, and 9/11 was the day the Glitter soundtrack came out.
And your birthday.
And my birthday.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of, it was like crazy. Just crazy
Yeah.
that all this was happening, and like, nobody knew anything about it.
I don't even remember. Did that make the news that she got arrested, or did they
Not that
manage?
I
to
had
keep
never
that?
heard that she'd gotten arrested.
Okay,
I knew
yeah.
that she kind of had, she had that kind of breakdown, and she was seeking help. And at the time I think they called it exhaustion, which is sort of what all
Oh, it's the
celebrities call
code.
it.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
So, but there's fun stuff in it too. Like she talked about being on Divas Live on VH1, and at the end with all the singers, and she didn't name Celine Dion, but she was like, I could not believe Celine Dion was trying to compete with Aretha Franklin and sort of have this sing off in front of people. And she's like, when it's Aretha Franklin, you just sort of step back and let her do her thing. And it was some fun stories like that, where she kind of talks about different celebrity encounters she's had in her life. So
She's probably got some
Wow.
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Are there, like, a lot about Mariah Carey?
Sure.
Were there things that surprised you? You talked about some of like the growing up stories and things like that. But
I didn't know that. I knew that she had briefly dated Derek Jeter, but I didn't know that it was sort of like that was kind of the thing that kind of set her free a little bit from her marriage. Was like, there's this possibility for me to be happy. So that was kind of the thing that kind of pushed her into.
wow.
Yeah, and they didn't date for a long time, but she said the thing about it that was so interesting to her was that his family was of, mixed race also. And that's when she figured out, like, oh, my family wasn't chaotic because they were of mixed race. They were just, didn't get along.
Yeah.
They were just, it wasn't the right fit for everybody. So.
How is she with her family now? Are they estranged, or she gets along with them?
She doesn't speak to her siblings, and I think she has sort of a little bit of a fractured relationship with her mother. Like, she still supports her mother financially, but
Yeah, there's some. Okay.
Yeah.
You could imagine.
Yeah.
It's hard to come back from an arrest, I would think.
I would think so. I would think that would, yeah.
yeah,
And how old are her kids now?
I think they are 9.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's done a good job with her ex-husband Nick Cannon. Like, they have a good relationship, and the
That's
kids,
good.
the kids have a stable, safe home.
That's
She's
good.
kind of gone out of her way to give them what she didn't have, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's always nice to me to see someone kind of break the cycle. That's
Yes.
nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to know that there was a cycle to break. Like,
Right.
you don't see that so often with celebrities or just anyone, really. But question for you, Heath.
Yeah.
Why do you think you love Mariah the way that you love her? I'm just curious. I think I've asked you this over the years, but I just want to know your thoughts.
One of the reasons I think, and I don't even know if this is the whole thing. I don't even know if I like am at a point in my life where I can wrap my head around why I love her.
Sure.
I don't know if I can verbalize it.
That's amazing.
Maybe, yes. By the time, like you're 75, you'll
Right.
be like, I get it. I finally get it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it was like on her first album, I think there's a song called Someday, and there's sort of this bridge in it where she sort of is telling somebody off in kind of a real, pretty sassy way. And as like a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old when that song came out, it was just like, yes, yes. You don't have to put up with that shit. Tell him off. You'll find somebody better. And just, and I just appreciate, I mean, I think she's really talented. I think she's funny. I don't think people understand how funny she is. I think she's a legitimately funny person. And, she's just kind of fabulous, and I kind of been drawn to that. And, I mean, she's stumbled and she's fallen. She picks herself back up,
You damn right she does.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we mentioned that this book, the title is The Meaning of Mariah Carey, and that it just came out.
Came out like on the 29th, and you had it read by the 30th. There is no 31st in September.
No.
By like the beginning of October. Okay.
Well, I waited. It came out on a Tuesday, and I ordered it off Amazon in advance, and it got delayed by a day because of the post office, and really trying to fight the good fight for your post office. But don't do this shit to me anymore. Right. So it didn't show up till Wednesday, and then I waited till the weekend to read it on purpose because I was just like, if I start reading at like 7:00 at night, I'm not gonna get any sleep.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So you kind of
And it was also, I knew the sooner I started it, the sooner I'd be done with it, and I kind of didn't want to be done with it. I waited a few days and just kind of carried it around the house, and if Michael would set something on it, I'd be like, don't you do that.
No. Michael,
take your keys off that now.
Yeah. Did the cats try and get on it at all? Did they try to, get some of Mariah by osmosis? No. Okay.
No,
Did you eat near it?
No.
Okay.
No. I guess we were within 10 feet of it, if that's what you mean by near.
No, I'm like I'll eat with the book open.
It's across the room.
I was in the same room and there was food, but it was not. Well, I know that you said that you have not written in it, even though there are passages, because which I have a lot of respect for, because there are certain books that I like to keep pristine.
Yeah.
Were any of the photos new photos, or had you seen most of those?
No, I hadn't seen most of them. A lot of them were, I think, just family photos of like, people that she mentions, and like this is the grandma, or this is, her father or whatever. So there's a lot of adjectives. It was a lot of it was flowery language, which I think fits her persona.
Which is interesting because you say that she very much admits there's a ghostwriter involved.
Yep.
So that ghostwriter must have really tried to take on her style in a way, which is a talent in and of itself. That's wonderful. Heath, will you describe your reaction to seeing Mariah live?
Oh.
The times that you've seen her live.
Probably. I don't know.
Because then I'm going to describe Michael's reaction that he described to me.
Okay.
Okay.
I've seen her 4 times.
Yep.
And every time is, of equally important.
Yes. You don't love one more than the other.
Yeah. And the first time was in Chicago at the United Center. We were pretty far away, but still it was, that was the first time I'd ever seen her in concert. And that was also on my birthday.
Oh my gosh.
So that was a pretty big deal.
How old were you then?
I was 31.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
it was on the 5th anniversary of 9/11. It was on.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was good. That was mentioned. But yeah, it was fun to sort of, and I've told Michael this when he like rolls his eyes at me being excited. I'm like, listen, buddy, you're not on your home turf anymore. You're on my turf, and these people will come and back me up.
Yeah, they will come at you.
If you want to scoff at being a Mariah fan, this is not the place to do it. This is not a safe space for you.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But it is. I mean, there's something really cool about being just in this, a room full of other people who all sort of have the same opinion on a certain topic as you, and you're sort of all there for the same reason. And, I mean, it's like, if you go to watch a football team that you love, and you're in the crowd in the stands with the crowd, and everyone's cheering for the same thing. It's sort of that kind of, it's electric. So.
Well, I will describe. Michael has described to me the times that you've gone to Vegas and watched Mariah, and he says that Heath the entire time, it almost sounds like you at a movie, like just grabs Michael, like ah! And it's just like screaming like giddily and just beyond him. He said, "I've never seen Heath that happy in my entire life."
Oh,
so it's kind of sweet in that way.
Nice. I'm glad that you're more discerning than I am too, because I do that about movies I don't even like. Not a great behavior. Like, it should really be saved for special occasions.
And I've never seen you see her, but I did see you watch her at New Year's Eve.
Oh, yes.
At my house.
Yeah.
There was the year that it didn't go right.
That year,
and then the second year, you were so amped up all night long, nervous for Mariah to perform. And like we couldn't really talk to you because you were just so like, oh God, I just really want her to do well.
Right.
And then when it came on, you were sitting right in front of the TV like a child and just the smile. I'll try and find the picture for you because it's something. It's really beautiful.
Oh.
And I just looked over and like, oh, he's in his happy place.
Yeah, it was very, I mean, again, she fell down the year before and she got herself back up. And I was happy for her. And
another one more fun moment that I'll relate that's Mariah related and you. When we went to a small town in Iowa and we went to a bar and as we left the bar realizing that it was a terrible bar and so many terrible people, you went to the jukebox and played All I Want for Christmas Is You 12 times. And then we left while it was playing the first time.
And it was like mid-October.
Yes, it was.
I mean, it wasn't Christmas.
No. I was like, we're gay bombing this bar.
That's amazing.
And it's wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's actually a really great calling card that you should take a lot of places, I think.
Yeah. I feel like they're still talking about that in Hampton.
I think they...
Yes.
There was a lot of weird things that happened that weekend. That wasn't the weirdest thing, but it was one that was memorable. Yeah. Well, anything else about the book? Do you think readers should know before they engage in it?
No, I think it is worth your time. I have not read the audio or listened to the audio version yet, but she reads the audio version, and apparently there's some treasures and treats in there for fans too, if you want to check that out.
Do you think that someone that's not a diehard fan would still like the book?
I think anyone who is aware of her and sort of even as a passing fan would be interested to just kind of learn about all the stuff she went through, and probably the first 20 years of her 20 years of her career. So.
And you're right, she's been such a enormous force in pop culture for the last 30 years that I would imagine
who doesn't remember? I mean,
who doesn't remember so many of these moments?
Exactly, or have some idea of Mariah Carey.
Yeah, and her ex-husband seems like a real dirtbag.
Really, Tommy Mottola. Yeah.
Hasn't that kind of always been like the low-key thing about him, was that he was kind of a dirtbag, but nobody wanted to say it because he was had so much power?
Right, I think he had so much influence. People were reluctant to say so because they would certainly pay the price.
Well, and it sounds kind of like he was almost grooming her to be his wife or something.
Yeah, which is gross because I think when they met, I think she was 18 or 19, and it was just sort of like,
and he made a compound. With no french fries. So terrible design.
I forgot about the word compound. That was something.
She called it in the book, she called it Sing Sing. Like,
at
because,
the prison.
like the prison, and also like that's where, he basically was like, we'll just sing,
That's a whole
genius comparison, but also terrible.
And I think they lived in two houses in upstate New York. One of them was destroyed by a fire and one by a tornado. I don't remember which one was which, but apparently they've both been destroyed.
So even nature was like, this dirtbag has to go.
Right,
yeah. Well, thank you for bringing your profound expertise on Mariah Carey to the podcast. And now what I'd like to do is quiz you on your Real Housewives knowledge. Because you have both gone on record about how much you love this. And since we're thinking celebrity, we're wondering, the boundaries between celebrity and reality. Thought this would be good. But first, I just want to have an open question to you guys. Why do you love The Real Housewives? As someone who's never watched it, convince a noob like me to watch it?
I feel like that's hard because I think you're either a Housewives person or you're not. Like, I don't know if it's a convincing thing.
Okay.
Like, you just really either are the type of person that appreciates a train wreck. Even when it's hard to watch and you know you shouldn't be and people are being exploited, you're still kind of in. And maybe that's it too. Like the Housewives that don't feel as guilty because like they willingly want to exploit themselves. Like this is what they're about, and you're kind of watching it unfold.
That's a good point. What do you think?
I think what I love about it is the genius of, and maybe genius isn't the right word, but just the producers that can sort of turn the smallest comment into a season-long argument. You know, just someone just gives somebody the wrong look or doesn't compliment their bag, and it turns into this whole argument that'll last 15 episodes. You know, and I think
that'll turn into like a you're jealous of my wealth and you've never had a bag like that. Not just like you didn't. Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's a talent.
And I do. And I've said this to my husband a lot too, like being a housewife is a skill that not everybody has. It's maybe not the most useful skill. Like nurses, you're okay. You don't have to worry that someone's going to take your job, but like people are good on this show or they're not, you know, and you can't, you know, you have to be able to have an argument with someone but not come off like too big of an asshole. You know, you have to be able to sort of mix it up a little bit but still be appealing and to someone.
And you have to be enough
balance
of a character that you're going to draw a certain group in because there's definite like fans for different housewives. And there are people that have been shitty housewives. Like they're terrible at it.
Yeah.
And
so what happens to them? Do they just sort of get booted? Really?
Yeah,
okay.
They'll get replaced. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because you can't come on and just sort of sit there and watch everything go on. You got to be able to be involved in it somehow. Because if you're not going to be involved, then they don't want you there.
But you also can't be too far that you're either pissing off producers or doing things that they can't somehow explain into housewives' behavior, because then that's too far too. So it's right. It's a skill. That's a fine.
If you piss everybody else in the cast off, then you're kind of on an island by yourself. You can't film. People won't film with you.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to kind of hedge your bets.
Well, and you told me lately there's been sort of a interesting, like, there's a Trump fan, right? That's a housewife, and there's been a lot of weird tension or something, like.
Well, the reunion, the New York. Did you watch the latest New York reunion with Ramona? And they were talking about how she was at a Trump fundraiser, and she didn't really want to like come out and say it, but that's been like an underlying theme with her since before he even got elected the first time. Like she's always been low key, like. Yeah, probably, sort of definitely. Like, I mean, she was at a selective fundraising party for him.
Right.
So.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
I don't think
so
you go if
a
you're not a
deal.
fan.
Right.
Okay.
But I think she's also a character on the show that is like she knows she's never going to be the main cast member. She's always sort of. She's been able to maintain this sort of area off to the side where she can have arguments with lots of people.
Yes.
But she mixes it up and keeps the show interesting. But no one's tuning in just for her.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
okay.
she knows her role on the show.
Okay.
But what's also interesting about Ramona, she's like 71.
Yes.
She is much older than most of the other people on
I
this
think
show.
I've seen pictures of her. She's got blonde or grayish maybe hair.
It's blonde. Yeah.
Yeah,
She
she's
did
got
not look
long
71.
blonde hair. And it's like
Oh my God.
Well, and the best thing about her is her like morphing. I will say, I'm not a Ramona fan, but I'll give her credit that the whole first few seasons of her life were the storyline, like your husband's cheating on you. Yep. No one wants to tell you to your face, but every sign is pointing to it. And then all of a sudden they just got a divorce. And then the next season she was finally able to be like, yeah, he was definitely cheating on me.
Yeah.
Like that's recent. So she hung on to that and kept herself relevant for quite some time.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, that's a good basis to start from. Now, I've developed some multiple choice questions, and as I told you before recording, I did this by actually taking some quizzes online, to which I did very poorly. One of the quizzes, I got 5 out of 20 just from straight guessing, and they literally at the end asked me, do you watch the show? To which I had to say, no, I don't. So
But you felt validated, right?
I did.
Yeah, that's true.
The quiz sees you. The quiz saw you.
It saw me, for sure. All right, so like I said, these are multiple choice. So let me go through all the choices before you give your answer. Which of these housewives did not have a singing career? Luann de Lesseps, Giselle Bryant, Sherry Whitfield, Gretchen Rossi. Did not have
I
a
think
singing
it's
career.
Giselle.
That's what I was going to say. It was Giselle Bryant.
You're both correct.
Oh.
I think it's Sheree Whitfield if we want to be,
Oh, yeah. She by Sheree.
Yeah.
What?
She had a fashion line called She by Sheree, and then one of the infamous early episodes of Real Housewives of Atlanta, she had this fashion show, and there were no fashions.
No.
They didn't get finished in time, so they were just sketches that she put out, and people came and looked, and it was just like...
Oh my God.
Wait, book related, she's also the one that wrote a fiction book about Atlanta, but it was actually supposedly like an outing of all these people's husbands that were having affairs.
Oh my God.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't remember what the book was called, but that was a thing. And then she wasn't on the show after that season.
Yeah.
Okay, this one I think I even knew the answer to because I think you had mentioned it. Which prosthetic part did Aviva Drescher throw on Roni? Arm, eye, leg, or foot?
Leg.
Leg, yeah.
Leg.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that on an episode.
I did. Yeah.
And that
It
was
so
that-
outrageous.
Yeah, and that scene was, I mean, she had planned that several days in advance. You could see the way it played out. She'd be like, the only fake thing about me is this.
She had to. She already had it unstrapped
Right,
and everything.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you had to. You couldn't. And they asked her about that at the reunion, and you could tell she was like, "Well, I just thought he would make a point."
No, you didn't. All right. What was almost the name of the Real Housewives of Orange County? Was it OGs of the OC, Rich Women Fight, Behind the Gates, The Housewives?
I think it was Behind the Gates.
That's what I was going to say. It was Behind the Gates.
You both are wrong. It is Rich Women Fight.
Oh.
It was not. Are you serious? I thought that was the fake one for sure.
I did read when Desperate Housewives, their last season, I read an article, and basically they said, Andy Cohen was quoted and was like, I bet they wish they would have copywritten Desperate Housewives, because that's where they got the name for Real Housewives, because Desperate Housewives was so popular for a while.
Oh, that makes sense.
It
Okay,
does, yeah.
Okay. Oh, no. All right. Which...
Real Women Fight. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I would also watch that show.
Doesn't change my viewing. I
Right,
just
yeah.
to be that on the nose seems a little.
I mean, I might have even watched that. Rich Women Fight? Yeah. Which famous actor did Carol Radziwill date? Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, George Clooney, or Johnny Depp?
George Clooney.
I think it was Clooney, yeah.
You're right. Good for you, whoever you are, Carol Radziwill.
Well, and she was married to like a Kennedy.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was.
Oh, wow.
She's an author, too.
Yeah,
An
she
actual
is.
author.
Like a legit. Well,
Yeah.
good for her.
And she left the show after Trump won because she couldn't stand to be around
Really?
the people that were support. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I support her then. Which clause is not in the Housewives contracts? They can't seek public office within 12 months of leaving the show. They must change their appearance at the discretion of the show's producers. They can't sue another housewife. They can't discuss their salary with other cast members. So which clause is not in the Housewives contract?
I would say the public office.
I would say public office, too.
It's actually they can't discuss their salary.
That clause isn't in there.
Is not in
They
the
can't
contract.
sue other castmates because they do.
Well, apparently that's in the contract.
Wow.
Contract breakers,
Jeez.
don't they? I mean, Denise Richards.
Well, I think she said a cease and desist.
Okay,
so
maybe that. Yeah,
not
that's
quite-
bigger. Yeah.
But she did try to get the producers to take out all of the salacious stuff from her last season. It's like, you think you're gonna beat a reality show producer, or like at this game of like tricking them into taking out all the good stuff? Like,
That was a really weird moment too, because that's never in the middle of a dinner. She just said, "I'm done, bravo, bravo," and apparently yelling "bravo" is like saying there's a fire. Like she thought that was it, that was like the end of the whole thing.
Wow.
And all their castmates are like, "What does that do? Does that stop things?"
but to throw it back to Tina Fey's book, there's a story in there when she went on a cruise with her husband and the ship caught fire and they got on the thing and they said bravo, 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 and she was relaying this story back to a friend and he's like, how many times did they say bravo? Because apparently 4 times is bye. This is going down and you're all gonna die.
Oh my
And they said it
God.
3 times. So it's So
That's funny.
Whoa.
I didn't even realize that.
By the way, we didn't connect the Tina Fey and Mariah Carey interview. So Tina Fey interviewed Mariah Carey recently
I
about Mean
think,
Girls.
About 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah, Mariah Carey's a big fan of Mean Girls, so Tina Fey quizzed her on trivia for Mean Girls, and she got a perfect score.
Oh my god!
And she was telling Tina Fey things that Tina Fey didn't remember. So
wow,
it was pretty
validating that Mariah Carey is
Yeah.
that big a fan. Also, that reminds me of when she was on Billy Eichner.
Oh yes,
That was a
fun, too.
glorious social media moment. Yeah.
When she sent out copies of this book to sort of influencers and her famous friends and stuff like that. She included the book and a box of Kleenex, for the sad parts. And Billy Eichner, they're supposed to record themselves opening it, and he gets the box of Kleenexes, and he's like, I don't know if I'm supposed to use this for when I cry or to use it to masturbate.
Either one.
Yeah. And she went and she reshared it on her Instagram story. So she said she thought it was funny.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
I love that they've connected. Like, I want them to do something together now.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, back to Housewives.
Okay.
Which housewife has not been arrested? Melissa Gorga, Nene Leakes, Tinsley Mortimer, Kelly Dodd. Not been arrested.
Melissa Gorga, isn't it?
I would say Melissa, yeah. I know.
You're correct.
I knew Tinsley and Nene had been, but I didn't know.
Kelly Dodd was in. Yeah, I can't remember what it was after she went off the season. I think because she spun out real weird, and then yeah.
I can see her like trespassing on an ex-husband's property.
100%.
Why haven't they done that to like have a plot point on the show, like trespassing on a? That'd be pretty good TV.
Yeah. Rich women trespass. I would also watch that show.
Well, that's like essentially what Tinsley Mortimer got arrested for too.
Yeah.
It was pre-show, but she was
Right.
like stalking her
ex-husband.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
You can get that just by watching. Yeah. Get that vibe.
Who was the first housewife to throw a glass of wine at someone? Was it Teresa? How do you say her last name?
It's hotly contested.
Oh, okay.
DJ?
That one.
Yeah.
Okay. Dorinda Medley, Tamra Judge, Vicky Gunvalson.
I think it was Tamara.
I think it was Tamara.
You're correct.
Yeah.
Next one. Who paid to get onto the show? Was it Faye Resnick, Kim Zolciak, Marlo Hampton, Slade Smiley?
Oh man, I want to say Slade because that seems like his kind of behavior.
Yeah, I would guess Slade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slade is a guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Slade. So
I
who-
was almost in the Kim's. I could believe that one too.
So who is Slade Smiley and why did he pay to get on the show?
He dated one housewife like in the early seasons of OC, and then she ended up leaving, and then he started like dating another one.
yeah, they got
So,
married. Yeah, it's
yeah.
very weird.
Interesting.
But
So
there's
he
been a lot
paid to
of.
get on.
I think I do remember hearing something like he paid to get his girlfriend at the time, like to have both of them on because that was one of the first ones that wasn't married but was a real housewife.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that was it. Now that's not apparently a requirement at all.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
Oh, really? So they don't have to be married?
no, most.
I think the last season of New York, none of them were married.
Yeah. Or barely any of them are even in relationships.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, the term housewife is real fluid
Very,
these days.
yeah. Okay. Which hit single did Candy not help write? Candy with a K. Bills, 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 No Scrubs, There You Go, Waterfalls. So which one of those did she not help write?
Like it was Bills.
I would guess Waterfalls.
You are correct.
Oh, I was way off.
I'm not familiar with There You Go.
Yeah, I didn't recognize that song.
Yeah. Again, we're changing the definition of hit here a little bit.
True,
We're flexing.
true.
We're
Yeah.
flexing.
I was so tickled by this one.
Oh.
Finish this sentence. Prostitution whore. You were fucking engaged. Blank. 17 times, 18 times, 19 times, or 20 times?
19 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very impressive to me. And I wanted to know who was engaged 19 times.
Danielle Staub.
Wow.
Prostitution whore.
She wasn't even really. Was she like a full housewife on that season?
I think that was the first season. I think she was the first season.
Okay, yeah. And that she flips the table.
Well,
as
Teresa
she's
flipped
saying
the
that.
table.
Teresa
Yeah,
flips the
Teresa-
table as she's saying that to Danielle. Yeah. Prostitution whore. Yeah. At a family dinner. They all
Right.
came out for a family dinner at an Italian restaurant.
Also, can we just start using that regularly? Prostitution whore. Yeah, I
I
like
say that like when I stub my toe. I'm just like, prostitution whore.
Oh, you're not saying that to your cats, are you?
No,
You're not
just,
calling
you
Ruth
know,
Bader Ginsburg a prostitution
no,
whore? Okay,
no.
good. Yeah, we neglected to mention that Heath has 2 cats.
Yes.
One Ruth Bader Ginsburg, one Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Have you told Ruth Bader Ginsburg that her namesake has died?
I did discuss it with her, and I
Okay.
said, the mantle is yours, and you have to carry it.
Yeah.
We need her.
Yeah, we do need
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That was the end of the multiple choice, but hang on, there's more. Don't worry.
Okay. All right.
I want you to guess the housewife by their tagline.
Oh, gosh.
I've got a few of these.
Some of these are weird.
Okay. Tagline number 1. I age like a fine wine, and now I'm ready to chill.
I think that's Ramona.
No.
Maybe Vicky Gumbelson.
Cynthia Bailey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I always forget about Cynthia.
I do too.
She has the Bailey wine cellar.
This was like a quiz of like 20 of these. And yeah, this was
Wow.
impressive.
Yeah.
These days, I don't throw punches, I roll with them.
Teresa.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the baddest thing walking and the smart... Wait, hold on. I forgot to emphasize a word. I'm the baddest thing walking and the smartest one talking.
Oh, God. I
Is
remember
that's got
hearing
it. Is that Giselle?
Yes. Giselle.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
I'm bilingual, but I don't speak BS.
I mean, I remember hearing these, but I can't. I can't.
It's got to be somebody from the OC. Tamra.
Carrie Brittingham? Carrie Brittingham.
Was she that one that was on OC for like one season
She could have been.
that got kicked off because she doesn't accept her brother or something?
Again, this is me not knowing any of these
Yeah.
names, so I was just picking the ones that
No,
I
that's
All
hey.
right. Yeah. Last one. You can stab me in the back, but whilst you're there, kiss my ass.
Lisa Vanderpump.
So she's one of the ones that got a spinoff, right? Like I've heard of Vanderpump
Yes.
Rules. Okay.
Yes, but that's not. I mean, I think Vanderpump Rules is basically the Real Housewives for men.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the characters are also men and they're young and they drink too much and they like attractive women, and so it's sort of the concept is the same. It's just a little bit different characters.
I
But I think
see,
it's
okay.
sort of that was the one that like made it okay for men to watch shows on Bravo.
Aha.
Yes, because Mike decided he liked that one. He watched Vanderpump Rules way before he got in. I'm like, that's
Right.
ridiculous. Like,
So
okay.
it gave straight guys an excuse
I guess,
to watch that.
yeah.
Okay, great.
Because I guess you need that. I
guess
know.
so. Yeah.
I mean, just own it. That's what I say.
Exactly.
It's great TV. I mean,
So final item is an open discussion where I ask you to defend your wife. I want you to choose your favorite season and your favorite wife. And I know we talked about this briefly beforehand that you guys have had a lot of trouble narrowing it down to a favorite season and a favorite wife. But where are you at in your headspace at this moment?
I think my favorite wife right now is probably Lisa Rinna on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills,
yeah.
because I think she just gets it. She gets what her job is.
Okay.
She understands it as a job, and she understands what she's supposed to do to sort of make things work. I think she understands it, and she's pretty funny, and she's energetic. She refers to her husband by his full name all the time, Harry Hamlin.
Seriously?
she does. That's true. God, that's
Yeah.
a good choice. I don't know. I'm struggling. Yeah, because some of my favorites aren't on anymore. Like who I really were like a big fan of that actually got fired. I loved Vicky Gumbelson only for the ridiculous factor, like not as like a, like, oh, I really like her as a person.
Right, yeah.
Just ridiculousness. She's not on anymore. She was on Orange County.
Okay.
Gosh, I gotta say that. Oh man, I don't know. That is so tough. It's always what always sticks with me is the season that's on now, and so then that's where I'm getting caught up.
Well, so in the season that's in right now, who's your favorite?
Well, Potomac is still going right now, and I would say that Giselle Bryant's ridiculous, but I enjoy the ridiculousness that she brings.
Excellent.
Lot of double standard there. That's
Oh,
terrific. And I
okay.
think I'm going to kind of piggyback on that and say there's a little bit of her understanding sort of what she's supposed to be and being extra dramatic. Now, it seems really extra on Potomac because I don't think the rest of them have gotten that memo yet.
Right. Yeah.
Like, So she's really, really out there. My all-time favorite season, no matter who's on it, though, is Jersey. I love New Jersey.
Why? Why do you like Jersey?
Because it brings you things like prostitution, whore.
That's
were married.
true. Yeah, that's pretty great.
And there's always there's something about that one that you always feel like you don't really know everything. Like there's something you're all not saying. It might be the mob. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah. There's always this underlying kind of mafia tension that no one really wants to address. And they're all related somehow. They all got on the show and they're related. It's weird.
That's real weird.
It's strange.
And they live in the most ridiculous houses for their areas.
Would you say that Beverly Hills is your favorite?
I think
city?
Beverly Hills is my favorite. I think probably because way back I think they just finished the 10th season. And in the first season, they had a scene at Camille Grammer's house. They had a dinner party.
Oh.
At the time, Camille was still married to Kelsey Grammer, who while filming was happening, we found out later was in New York having an affair with someone.
Oh.
But they produced the show Medium, starring Patricia Arquette, right? Where she was, clairvoyant and all that. Well, the woman that it was based on was at their house at this dinner party, smoking on an e-cig before vaping was a thing. She was sucking on this e-cig. And she tells, and there's, arguing ensues, and people sort of question her ability to actually do this. And at one point, she looks at Kyle Richards and says, "Just know," she's like, "Your husband will never emotionally fulfill you. Know that."
Oh my God!
While she's sucking on this e-cig, and it is just
It's just and it just explodes after that. And that has been replayed. Like they work that in almost every season. That exact scene because
while that argument's taking place, there's 3 other arguments taking place at the same table. And I don't know if there were guys with cameras out in the van, and they were just come on, so they could catch everything. Yeah.
That's true. That is an iconic moment.
Okay.
Know that. Yep,
right. Yeah.
You're right.
And the thing about Beverly Hills too, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, was they go to fabulous places when they go trips. I think every season they're contractually obligated to go on a trip, and they go to Rome or Abu Dhabi or Paris. They go to these fabulous places, and on some other versions of the show, they go to Savannah, Georgia, which is lovely. I'm sure it's lovely.
Yes.
Yes, you did mention this. The different cities, you can tell, is a very different definition of a rich woman.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We did mention too before we started recording that the next one is Salt Lake City. They've been heavily promoting. I'm a Mormon. I'm not a Mormon. I'm not a. So, what are your predictions for Salt Lake City, Annie?
I feel like they're going to be really unapologetic about their shenanigans.
Yeah.
Do you think there will be a polygamy discussion at any point?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
has to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
And speaking to that point, when this all started 12, 13 years ago when the first ones came out, social media wasn't really a thing then, and it is now. And
that's a good point.
They put up with a lot of shit from yahoos that take this show too seriously, not like us who are taking it the right amount of serious.
Thank you. I have not tweeted at anyone, to be clear.
Okay, so that's how you define a Yahoo, is you haven't tweeted.
Right,
or / hooligan, depending on.
All right.
Yeah. Is there a city you would like to see have a Real Housewives edition?
I think it would be interesting in Chicago. I think it would be interesting.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's kind of a, even in the right suburb, there's still got to be a little bit of rough and tumble in some of those ladies. They've seen some things.
Yeah,
that's true. I have wanted more something more Midwestern, not get out of the sun and the always that easy type of something a little. I'm not opposed to a Real Housewives of Des Moines.
I was just going to say, maybe we should start a petition with our significant power to make this
Obviously,
happen.
yeah.
Tina Fey, you're listening, so maybe you can help us get this going.
Plus, how great would it be that if you go out to dinner at some point, whenever, that the possibility that you could be one of those random people in the background that sees this happen.
Yep.
You could be Martini Mike.
What? I don't know who Martini Mike is.
He is. It was this season on New York. They were in the Hamptons. And they were at a restaurant, and you can tell that he's got a martini. I don't know if Mike's his real name. That's what they named him.
Oh, okay.
But he's like watching and just like, and they catch him on camera making the face that everyone wants to make. And he's like an icon now because of that.
Oh yeah, you two could definitely be Martini Mike.
Yeah.
Or a new variation
I
of it.
feel like you might be better at it. I would be too like over the top. They'd be like, "We gotta cut. What are you doing? Why are you doing with your hands?
What is happening?
You're not in the fight. You're in the background. Get out."
We asked you not to look directly into the camera, ma'am.
They'd be like, nope. Oh man, can't use any of the footage from that restaurant.
It would be fun to see also like a season in maybe Portland. Where someone's like, like
a whole new level of
why didn't you buy my, organic hemp handbag that I made myself in the basement?
Right, you're right. Yeah.
Why aren't you buying my fermented
or like
beers?
Maui where they don't like give up.
Right.
Like I'm not subscribing to any of this. What trip? We're not going on a trip. I'm not traveling with any of you.
I live in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You used a plastic straw.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll never talk to you again.
How dare you? You missed our morning surf session, and I'm pissed.
Oh, wow. Well, okay, so we got to figure out how we can bring one to Des Moines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some idea starters here.
Yeah.
I like it.
That reminds me, do you guys remember the SNL sketch with Will Ferrell and Cecily Strong, and they were playing two reality stars that were coming home to like their actual home, and they came in and their faces were taped up so high and far back, and they're like, "We're just so glad to be here among normal people." But then the TV crew comes in, and as soon as they start rolling, they start throwing wine and like, "You bitches didn't even invite me." And then it would stop, and they're like, "Oh, thanks guys, this is terrific."
I liked the Real Housewives of Disney that they had on Saturday
What?
Night Live several years ago.
Yeah.
I think Lindsay Lohan.
Seriously,
was in it.
when at first I was like, "What?" Well, you have definitely established yourselves as the experts I knew you were.
Thank you.
So well done. I think I was slightly keeping score, and I think Heath won.
Oh,
we
yeah.
had
Yeah,
one
he
more.
had some others in there that I did not remember.
So well done, Heath.
I'm
Thank you.
terrible with
Yeah.
taglines, it turns out.
As per my agreement to come on the podcast, I won the quiz.
It was in his clause. It was not in your clause.
Yes. So Heath, you've done hundreds of podcasts.
Yep.
How does this one rate?
It's in the top 2.
Okay. Good. There's room to grow, Erin. There's room to grow.
Let me ask you, was the giggling too much?
Yeah, I like my podcast serious.
Oh, you
Well,
did
we
not do
tried.
your research before you came on. Did you hear the part where we read a negative review like a while back, and their main complaint was that we giggled and we meandered. Those were actual words used. Giggled.
That person sounds fun.
Thank you.
Super
And
fun.
meandered.
Yeah.
That's how they started it. Sounded good. I tried.
Yes. It was the most entitled, weird review ever. And it almost kind of sounded like, how you were saying people will just take the time to tweet at someone.
Right.
It's like, so you took the time, you didn't like it, so you wrote a negative review. I just don't get that psychology of people.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tried. I really tried. So much.
As our
effort.
listeners can tell, we're still not over it.
Yeah,
Still
it's
not over it.
No, I'm over it. I tried phrases become a great thing for me to use everywhere. Like I tried.
I was just talking to Michael last night about there's some website that has 1-star Yelp reviews of national parks.
Oh my god.
And there are people like complaining there's too many trees or like it was dirty.
There was dirt everywhere. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. All right, we'll have to find that and share that with our
Well,
listeners
if we, I'm not encouraging anyone to do this by any means, but if we got enough negative reviews, we could make a spin-off website.
Or maybe we could just write our own. We don't want to encourage people.
Oh, that's
to
fine.
do-
Yeah, I don't want
I
to
mean,
break
it's up
that
to-
many legs. That's too many on my conscience.
many legs.
I'll do it like 1 or 2 times.
Yeah,
but after that, it's
absolutely.
a pattern, and then
Yeah.
it's gonna get brought up at some point, like a trial or something. Yeah.
So Heath, I know you're an expert on celebrity. We may have to have you back. What else are you an expert on? We need to find a reason to bring you back.
Oh gosh. I like tennis shoes.
That's true. You do. You do. All right. Well,
I like sandwiches too.
perfect. This is a lot to work with.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
If you ever want to do an episode on cookbooks,
Oh, actually, yeah.
That's
celebrity
a good one.
cookbooks.
Oh, that is part 2 to this celebrity.
Yeah.
That's done, I think.
Okay. Oh, Heath, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having
I know
me.
our listeners will love you as much as we do.
Well, I hope I get a negative review.
Who was the random dude on the show? Why?
That's not a broad.
That's not a fraud.
You need to rename this.
Oh, boy. Well, I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll be back with one of our regular episodes. But in the meantime,
Happy reading.